You avoid saying something in a meeting. Not because it's wrong, because you're not sure how it will land. That's not caution. That's a cage. And the worst part? You built it yourself. And you keep walking back in. You rehearse what you're going to say before you say it. You edit your texts. You post something, then delete it, then post it again with a different caption. You dress a certain way around certain people. You laugh at things that aren't funny. You agree when you don't. You go quiet right before you're about to say something real. You call this being thoughtful, being careful, being socially intelligent. But if you slow it down, if you actually watch what you're doing, there's one engine running all of it. You are managing how you appear. Constantly. Automatically. Without even deciding to. This is your default mode. Not presence. Not expression. Management. Here's what no one tells you. The fear of judgment isn't a personality trait. It's not shyness. It's not introversion. It's not even low confidence. It's a survival program running inside a world where survival is no longer the issue. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between social exclusion and physical death. Neurologically, they register in the same place. Being rejected by the group, being mocked, being seen as incompetent, your brain flags all of it as danger. This is not a metaphor. Brain imaging shows it. Social pain activates the same neural circuits as physical pain. Eisenberger and Lieberman proved it. The same circuits. So when you shrink yourself to avoid judgment, your brain is not being irrational. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is protecting you from what it still believes is a threat to your survival. The problem is the threat hasn't been real for thousands of years. But the program never got the update. Here is the real architecture. You are not afraid of what people think. You are afraid of what their opinion might mean about who you are. That's the distinction that matters. If someone judges you and you feel nothing, that means their opinion has no stake in your identity. But if it lands, if it gets under your skin, it means you haven't fully decided who you are. And in that gap, other people's perception rushes in to fill it. Jung called it the persona. The mask you wear not to deceive others, but to protect yourself from having to fully inhabit yourself. Most people are so identified with their persona that they think it is them. When someone threatens the mask, it feels like they're threatening your existence. Because to you, at some level, they are. This is why the fear of judgment is deepest in people who are most talented, most sensitive, most capable of something real. They have the most to lose if they show it and it's dismissed. So they don't show it. They stay just comfortable enough. Just visible enough. Just present enough. But never fully out. David Whyte, the poet, wrote, "The antidote to exhaustion is not rest. It is wholeheartedness." You are exhausted not from doing too much, but from constantly holding back. From the permanent tension of being almost you. If you continue this way, here is what doesn't happen. The work you're capable of doesn't get made. The opinion you know is correct never gets said. The version of you that would have changed something, in a room, in a relationship, in a body of work, stays hypothetical. And time does what it always does. It passes. You don't notice at first. But at some point, the distance between who you are and who you were supposed to be becomes visible. Not to others. To you. That's the real cost. Not embarrassment. Not rejection. It's the slow accumulation of the unlived version. Thoreau named it with uncomfortable precision. Men lead lives of quiet desperation, he wrote. Not dramatic suffering. Not failure. Quiet. The desperation of the person who never fully showed up to their own life. Now here's the layer underneath the layer. The fear of judgment isn't just a fear of others. It's a fear of your own verdict. When you imagine someone judging you, you are not actually imagining them. You are imagining the part of yourself that agrees with them. The critic in the audience is almost always a projection of the critic inside. This is why external validation never fixes it. You get the approval you were looking for and the anxiety returns within hours. Because it was never about them. The trial is internal. And you have been sitting in judgment of yourself for years without realizing it. The question isn't what other people think of you. The question is what you think of you, and whether you've ever let yourself find out. You have spent enormous energy building a version of yourself that is acceptable. And it's worked. People find you acceptable. But acceptable is not the same as alive. Acceptable is not the same as meaningful. Acceptable is just the absence of rejection. You have been optimizing for the absence of rejection and calling it success. Every performance you gave instead of presence, that was the optimization. Every time you softened the truth to keep the peace, that was the optimization. Every moment you held back because the room felt uncertain, that was the optimization. You got very good at it. And it cost you something you may not have noticed you were paying. The solution is not to stop caring what people think. That's a fantasy. Caring is wired in. The shift is smaller than that. And harder. It's learning to distinguish between the judgment that contains real information, and the judgment that is simply social noise your nervous system mistook for a verdict. Most of what you fear doesn't survive that examination. Not because the fear isn't real, but because what it's pointing to isn't actually dangerous. The people you most admire, the ones whose work reaches you, whose ideas stay with you, they didn't stop fearing judgment. They just stopped letting it be the final word. They decided their expression was more important than their protection. Here is the truth you've been sitting with for a long time. You are not afraid of being judged badly. You are afraid of being judged accurately, and found small. Found less than you hoped you were. But there's a more frightening possibility than that. That you are exactly what you hoped you were. And you've been hiding it so carefully, for so long, that you've almost convinced yourself otherwise. The problem isn't that people will see you. The problem is that you've spent years making sure they can't.